This band and this album never got what it deserved. And Ron Taylor is just a star, was gonna fuck this album up like they would every other one. Because Nobody Knows should have been a #1 smash ballad. There is no filler on that album. I get goosebumps thinking about it right now. How many fucking 10 out of 10s can be on one album? That sucked. It didn't sell shit. Fuck. Look, I came here to do two things. Talk hair metal and chew bubblegum. And it looks like I'm almost out of bubblegum. Welcome to episode number 5 from the Hair Metal Haven. My name is Anthony, and in our first 4 episodes, we have done a deep dive with a ranking of the albums from Warrant, Poison, Cinderella, and Skid Row. For episode number 5, I wanted to take a step back from the bands that everyone knows and loves, the bands that have gone platinum or multi-platinum, and I wanted to focus on a band that never got the attention they deserved, and that band is the mighty Lillian Axe. Lillian Axe released 4 albums from 1998 through 1993, and they are still going, led by their main songwriter and lead guitarist, Steve Blaze. But we are going to focus on those first 4 albums. The 1988 self-titled album, 1989's Love and War, 1992's Poetic Justice, and 93's Psychoschizophrenia. Buckle up, because we're about to take a ride on the Lillian Axe train. The Lillian Axe debut album was produced by Robin Crosby from Rat and came out in 1988. Now, unfortunately, the sad history of Lillian Axe tells us that their record label, MCA, the Musicians Cemetery of America, was gonna fuck this album up like they would every other one. But that was through no fault of the band. So let's figure out where the debut stands along with the other 3 by ranking the songs. The album opens up with Dream of a Lifetime, and you know that you're not dealing with your typical hair metal band, because lyrically, Lillian Axe is a lot different than your Poisons and your Warrants, and I love those bands, but they've always had a little bit something deeper. You know, I'm not saying that they'll never tackle the fuck me, suck me songs, but Dream of a Lifetime starts off with kind of a mid-tempo, catchy guitar groove, and lyrically it's about somebody who is after this relationship and telling this person that his dream is that person and that he's going to do anything he can to make that dream come true. It's got a really catchy bridge that leads right into the chorus, and Ron Taylor is a phenomenal vocalist, you're going to hear the name Steve Blaze, who's the main songwriter, quite frequently, but Ron Taylor vocally is an amazing singer, tons of emotion, and a lot of grit when it calls for it. So Dream of a Lifetime, I'm going to say it's an 8 out of 10. Track number 2 is Inside Out. It's got a really heavy guitar introduction, and the verses really flow, really catchy, but the chorus kind of loses me a little bit. Not enough that I'm going to give it a 6 or a 5, but I'm going to say a 7. Vision in the Night is another song that the verses are so catchy, but the chorus, it's not that it's bad. It's not that I don't want to listen to it, but those verses lead you to think that something more is going to happen. So when it doesn't, it's kind of a letdown. I'm going to give it a 7 again. The More That You Get has this really cool guitar intro, kind of a power chord, but I love when songs start with just that guitar riff and there's no bass or drums yet, and it builds up to that, and that's what this song does. And you can tell, and I've said before, I'm not a musician. Steve Blaze with his guitar knows how to change chords in order to accentuate the emotion of the song. So this song's a good solid 8 out of 10. Okay, track number 6 is Misery Loves Company. And if you listen to one song on this album, listen to Misery Loves Company. It's a 10 out of 10. It's super catchy. The lyrics show that they don't take themselves too seriously. I mean, Ron Taylor even makes a little crack about losing his hair. But the verses, catchy. The chorus explodes. You won't be able to get this song out of your head, I guarantee it. Song 7 is Nobody Knows. And here's record companies sometimes don't know shit. And MCA fucked this album because Nobody Knows should have been a #1 smash ballad. It's phenomenal lyrically. It's got this really emotional acoustic guitar intro, Ron Taylor's emotions in the vocals. I mean, they almost make you want to cry. One of the best hair metal ballads of all time. Hard Luck starts off with almost this spacey instrumental intro and then blasts in full gear. It's almost kind of progressive in a way. Great lyrically. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Waiting in the Dark almost kind of has some slower mid-tempo moodiness in the verses. Then the chorus picks up and lyrically it's phenomenal. Super catchy song, 8 out of 10. Laughing in Your Face has one of the coolest guitar introductions. Then the verses kind of go with Ron Taylor singing his part and then the band shouting out a response. So it's kind of this back and forth. Then the chorus just explodes. Great song. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. So that finishes up the debut album. Had 2 10 out of 10s. Very few. Was there anything that went below a 7? And that's extremely rare. But Lillian Axe is an extremely rare band. And next we have the follow-up, which on internet circles is a huge, very loved album. Even though, just like the debut, it didn't sell shit. It maybe went aluminum. And that's Love and War from 1989. Love and War starts off with the song All's Fair in Love and War. And it has this really haunting, extended introduction that builds up. And all of a sudden this kick drum comes in. And then Ron Taylor almost just starts talking to you as he builds up into this scream that lets you know the band is fucking out for blood. This song makes me want to drive my truck 90 miles an hour down a dead-end road with my lights off. Then the song gets into the verses and the chorus. Everything is sticky, sweet, and catchy. It's catchier than crabs at Porky's Club, if you know what movie I'm talking about. The song's a 10 out of 10. She Likes It on Top is #2, and no, it's not really a sex song. It's more about somebody who's willing to do anything and step on anybody to get to the top. Amazingly catchy guitar, chorus explodes. This song will not leave your ears. It's a 9 out of 10. Diana is a mid-tempo. It's not a ballad, but it's just kind of smooth and at an even pace. The lyrics are so great about somebody who just wonders why the world is the way it is. This is a song that I still love to listen to. It's a 9 out of 10. You get to track #4, which is Down on You. Again, the lyrics might sound like it's a fuck me, suck me. It's not. It's about somebody who is trying to get over, maybe somebody that's hurt him, and what he wants to do is almost to have pain come back on them. I want the rain to come back down on you like it did on me. And Steve Blaze's guitar, man, I mean, I'm not a guitar player, but everything he writes just hits you right here. He knows when to let the guitar breathe, and then he knows when to pick it up. And this song is another 9 out of 10. The next song is The World Stopped Turning, and I'm gonna read you the first verse, the lyrics of the first verse. I watched you bathing in the moonlight. I heard you crying in the rain. Every day is just another symphony of angels singing praises in your name. Look up, can't you hear them calling? I mean, not many people can write something with that much emotion and that deep. And this song really starts off with kind of a slow, almost ballad type introduction. The chorus has almost another one of those, you know, back and forth, calling back and forth between Ron Taylor and the band. I love this song. One of my favorite Lillian Axe songs of all time. Listen to the World Stop Turning. It's a 10 out of 10. Ghost of Winter, the band can start so slow and just slowly pick up tempo as the song goes on. Man, lyrically, you know, a lot of bands you don't focus on the lyrics. A lot of times it's just, hey, do they write catchy guitar riffs? But this band can write catchy guitar riffs, but the lyrics are just so deep and they just hit you. Ghost of Winter is a 9 out of 10. Song number 7 is My Number, and it's a cover from a band named Girl. And Girl had 2 famous musicians that were in that band who became famous later. And that is Phil Collen, who now plays guitar in Def Leppard, and Phil Lewis, who is the lead singer of LA Guns. Well, they had a song called My Number, and Lillian Axe just makes it their own. The most insanely catchy guitar riff that opens up the song. And this song almost does have some fuck me, suck me sensibilities in it, but explosive, catchy, one of my favorite songs on the album. It's a 10 out of 10. Show a Little Love. I feel like I'm getting repetitive, but this album is so amazing. Show a Little Love. Great lyrically, awesome guitar in the intro. It melds together into this perfect pop metal song. 10 out of 10. How many fucking 10 out of 10s can be on one album? Fool's Paradise. Again, here's another song I want to read the opening verse. The lyrics. You say you're happy with your ways, but anyone who's ever known you knows that you've seen better days. So here's a lesson to be learned in a mirrored, disillusioned images you cannot turn. This is about somebody who is just always going down the wrong path, but thinks that they've got everything right, but it's a fool's paradise, and eventually the path that they've taken is gonna fuck them over. Fool's Paradise, great lyrically. I don't know if it's as catchy as the other songs musically, but still it's worthy of an 8 out of 10. Letters in the Rain is phenomenal lyrically, and the music is solid. It's not a ballad. It's more of almost kind of a heavier mid-tempo guitar groove. So I'm going to say it's a 7 out of 10. That finishes up with Love and War, and that, out of all the albums that I've covered, seems like it's maybe one of the highest ranked albums. A number of 10s, 9s, and 8s. But will that be enough to make it the best Lillian Axe album of all time? Well, we got to get into 1992's Poetic Justice. So let's check out the songs. Poetic Justice starts off with a little instrumental track called Poetic Justice, and then leads into the first real song of the album called Innocence. And this, I don't know why they chose this song to lead off the album, because it is one of my least favorite Lillian Axe songs. It just kind of drones on. I never really feel it grabbing me anywhere. It's a 5 out of 10. If Innocence made you worry about how good Poetic Justice was going to be, the next track, True Believer, should get rid of any concerns that you had. True Believer is one of my favorite rock songs of the hair metal genre. It's up there with your Gypsy Road from Cinderella, with your Life Loves a Tragedy from Poison, with your Uncle Tom's Cabin from Warrant. Amazingly catchy guitar intro, some of the best lyrics of the genre. This whole thing just wants to jump into your heart and grab you, and it does. Listen to True Believer. It's a 10 out of 10. Body Double is next, and it's got this great guitar riff. and he's almost kind of spitting out really fast lyrics, so the verse is super catchy. The chorus loses me a little bit. I almost want to give it an 8, but it's probably the upper regions of a 7. See You Someday is next. It's a ballad. 10. Living in the Gray is another song that shows how Lillian Axe is so good at changing tempos. They never just stick with one thing. They go from slow to medium to fast. Now, the verses are phenomenal. The chorus isn't the best chorus ever, but just because of the awesomeness of everything else, it has to be an 8. Okay, the next song is Dying to Live, and this is one of the most emotional. It's not even a ballad. It's a mid-tempo. It's got this really cool, I don't know if it's cool acoustic guitar intro. Some of the best, most motivating and just inspirational lyrics ever. I'm going to read you a couple lines from Dying to Live. I never looked behind me, never saw the shadows smile, never watched the red light warning. All I wanted was to be in touch with you. I took a chance on inner healing and said it was the way to go. Find a way to make you happy. I can't do it. I never could, but what a show. I mean, I just get goosebumps, and when you hear it, me saying it probably sounds like dog shit, but when you hear it with the song, I get goosebumps thinking about it right now. Go listen to Dying to Live. It's an 11 out of 10, if I can go higher than a 10. Mercy, it has almost this jangly acoustic guitar intro. The song picks up. Not one of my favorite songs on the album. It's a 5. The Promised Land is just a mid-tempo, sticky, sweet, catchy. It's got the coolest, it almost has like this nursery rhyme intro, but it grabs you right there and it doesn't let go until the end. For some reason, I want to say a 9, even though I'm hearing 10 in my head, but let's go with a solid high 9. She's My Salvation. It has what I think is good in a lot of songs. It has a really catchy guitar riff, but I think for some reason this is one where the lyrics do kind of lose me a little bit. So it's a good song, but when I get into the 5 or 6 range, that to me is starting to be a little bit filler. This is in the 5 or 6 range. No Matter What is a cover of a Badfinger song, and it's a great cover. But it should not have been chosen as the first single. True Believer should have been the first single and video. So I don't want to bash on No Matter What. I'm just disappointed in it being chosen as a single. As a song, it's probably an 8 or 9. I just wish the record company could have recognized No Matter What wasn't the single. It was True Believer. Poetic Justice finishes off with another instrumental called A Moment of Reflection. There were some songs on here that got into the filler range, but man, there's some amazing stuff. True Believer, See You Someday, Dying to Live, Promised Land. Go check those songs out. I think I said it at the beginning. One of the reasons I started this channel was to hopefully spread the word about some of my favorite bands that just never got what they deserved. This band and this album never got what it deserved. So go check it out now. Coming up next is 1993's Psychoschizophrenia. And when you hear 1993 and you hear a hair band, you wonder, did they make the turn to start doing something grunge? Okay, Lillian Axe definitely introduced some alternative music. Their lyrics were always deeper than you were going to get from the hair metal bands. But musically, you do see some of that alternative turn. But do they do it well? Well, we had albums like Warrant's Dog Eat Dog, which were phenomenal. Warrant also had 95's Ultraphobic, which was great. Winger's Pull was a great album. Motley Crue's MC94, great album. Let's see what Lillian Axe does with 1993's Psychoschizophrenia. Let's check out the songs. Crucified is the first song on Psychoschizophrenia, and you can tell the guitar, it's still reminiscent of what they were doing on their previous albums, but maybe in their production, it does have a little bit of alternative leanings. But Jesus, listen to these fucking lyrics. Pardon my language. Got a heavy cross to bear when there's salt in your lacerations. At least when I die, I can look them in the eye, see them off to eternal damnation. See the bloodstained curtains in the temple of love, where the truth is a state of your mind. Kneel down, kiss the ground, better never make a sound. How can they see when they're so damn blind? I mean, Jesus. Okay, so amazing lyrics, really cool musically, not a 10, but it's a 9. Deep Freeze is another song where Steve Blaze and the band show you how they can just change up tempos and still make it just catchy. And they take you for a ride. You go up and then you go down and then you come back. It's an 8 out of 10. Moonlight in Your Blood, it has this bouncy, the drums really kind of stand out because it'll go slow, it'll go fast. And Ron Taylor is just a star of this band and this album, and his vocals just make everything, bring it all together. Moonlight in Your Blood is a 9 out of 10. Stop the Hate is a good song, but it has this, a couple kids talking at the beginning, and they're trying to, but it's kind of cheesy. These kids talking about their lives, and I feel bad saying that because I get what they're going at, but it sounds cheesy in the midst of this album. But then the song is dramatically better than the cheesy. Opening, it kind of slower and picks up pace, and the lyrics are really good. So that damn cheesy intro makes me not want to listen to it. The rest of it makes up for it, but I'm going to give it a 7. Sign of the Times is a really heavy song. I really like the verse, but the chorus kind of loses me. Still a good song, but it's 6. The Needle in Your Pain is next, and it's a fully all acoustic. There's some instrumentation, but you don't get drums and everything else. It's just acoustic guitar with some orchestration to it. But it's lyrically about somebody who, it seems to be somebody who's struggling with drugs, and the person who has to watch them do that. And I'm going to read a verse. Goes like this. No one can convince me that there's method to this madness. As I watch you fade, the hours tick away. With the courage of a lion and a steadfast heart of gold, you gave me strength while the flames of my hope burned so cold. I mean, so I teach high school English. I just left teaching. So I'm 50 years old. I've taught for teaching. I've taught for 12 years, and I just left it. I don't know if I'll go back to it, but I taught high school English, and lyrics like that just, man, they grab me. So I love this song. I love the message behind it. As somebody who's dealt with addiction, I can imagine what it's like to have my family had to watch me when I was in the depths of my drinking. And this is somebody watching somebody who's probably addicted to heroin, something that involves a needle, but just a super heartfelt song, and it's a 10 out of 10. Those Who Pray is next, and it almost has this kind of keyboard, really slow, really emotional introduction, and it's about, it's not Those Who Pray, P-R-A-Y, it's Pray, P-R-E-Y, and, bowing down to those who would prey on those who maybe aren't capable or, don't have the ability of those who are up above us. So it's really emotional. The lyrics really hit home. And I love that intro. I don't think the chorus is as catchy as I want it to be, but it's a 7 or an 8, right in that range. Voices in My Walls is next, and the verses I don't really like, but then when it picks up, it's really catchy. And I'm, you know, man, lyrically, this album is just so strong. So it's great lyrically, but I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Now You Know has one of the best, most catchy openings. It's really melodic and almost a ballad, and the chorus kicks in a little bit and it detracts. It's not as good as the verses are, and I'm going to read you a stanza from this. So I'll get my ranking on it. Because the chorus isn't as great, it's still a solid 8, but listen to this. Well, I felt this coming on for a long, long time. When everything turns red, it's such a bad sign. Just a little bit of light would have helped me see that every loaded gun wasn't aimed at me. Oh, man. So great song, great lyrics. Chorus takes it away from it a little bit, but it's an 8. Deep Blue Shadows is another song where the chorus is phenomenal. The verse doesn't quite match up to what the chorus is. Still, it's a rocker. That's you know, great guitar wise. I just wish that both parts of the song were as catchy as each other. So it's a 7 out of 10. The Day I Met You is one of the best ballads of the hair metal genre. It's just an acoustic, strictly acoustic ballad with phenomenal lyrics about somebody who has all this regret, and just if they could go back to any day, they'd go back to the day that they met this person. And man, it just grips me from the first time I heard it. I loved it, and I still, it gives me goosebumps, and you should listen to The Day I Met You. The last song is the title track, Psychoschizophrenia. It's a hard rock song. It's not my favorite song on the album. Part of the verses are kind of are good. The chorus kind of loses me in a way. I would give it a 6 or a 7. So that ends Psychoschizophrenia. Had some 10 out of 10s. Maybe had a few songs that reached into the filler range. So now we've done the 4 albums: the 88 debut, 89's Love and War, 92's Poetic Justice, and finally 93's Psychoschizophrenia. And the winner is Love and War is the best Lillian Axe album of all time. It's so underrated, and it part of the reason that makes me choose it is it came out at the right time. It came out in 1989. It should have been up there with Warrant's Dirty, Rotten, Filthy, Stinking Rich, the Skid Row debut, Bon Jovi's New Jersey. I mean, this is one of my favorite albums of all time, and there are songs on other albums from Lillian Axe that I like just as much as anything on Love and War. But Love and War is so cohesive. There are no down points. There is no filler on that album, and that's so hard to do. Even my best band, my favorite bands of all time have filler, and this album is just, it's top notch from start to finish. Go out and check out Love and War. So we're gonna have Love and War is the best Lillian Axe album. Then we're going to go into Poetic Justice is going to be number 2. Psychoschizophrenia is number 3. And the debut album is number 4. But all of these albums are great. And like I said, go out and check out Lillian Axe if you haven't. Because if you haven't, if you haven't and you like hair metal, you're about to have, maybe not your favorite band, but you're about to add to your favorite bands of the hair metal genre. Hey, thanks for sticking with me through episode number 5. The next episode that I do will not be a ranking of the albums from a band. I will go in a new direction, but for the 5th episode, I wanted to put the spotlight on somebody that deserved more attention, and that's what we did with Lillian Axe. Hey, if you even take a couple of minutes out of your time to watch one of my videos, I'm truly, truly appreciative. So that wraps up episode number 5. Episode number 6 is coming out next week. Until then, this is Anthony from the Hair Metal Haven. Take care.